One of the coolest things about my YouTube channel is that I get the unique opportunity to drive a variety of different makes and models. Over the course of the last year, I've driven almost 200 different vehicles, again from a variety of brands. I've driven trucks, SUVs, cars, sports cars, classic cars, and it's always fun to see how different vehicles compare with one another. It's interesting to see how vehicles have changed over the last 20 or 30 years. It's interesting to see how one specific model changes from generation to generation. And the other thing that's really fun is to see how a vehicle matches my expectations. Going into a test, I always have preconceived notions about how I'm going to think about a vehicle. Sometimes those expectations are met, sometimes they're not, and sometimes they are exceeded. What I've got here today is the 2015 Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk. Several months ago, I had the opportunity to drive a 2014 Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk, and it is one of those vehicles that wildly exceeded my expectations. When the 2014 Jeep Cherokee came out, it was a very controversial vehicle to say the least. Die-hard Jeep enthusiasts were saying that this vehicle was not fit to carry the Cherokee name, and for good reason. It was a vast departure from what we saw in the last Jeep model that carried the Cherokee name. Now, if we jump back to 1974, that's the first time that the Cherokee name was used on a two-door version of the Jeep Wagoneer. Flash forward 10 years to 1984, and the Cherokee is now a standalone model in the XJ series, one of the first compact SUVs on the market. That is the Jeep Cherokee that most people think of, but then jump forward several more years, and then we've got two generations of the Jeep Liberty, which was essentially carrying the Cherokee vehicle forward under a different brand name. Then we jump forward to 2014, and the Cherokee name has now been revised in this vehicle. And it is a very different vehicle. Obviously, the styling is very different from the primitive, boxy, square styling that we saw on the XJ series of the Cherokee. Inside, a completely different vehicle. Again, the XJ series of the Jeep was very basic, very simplistic. This vehicle is extremely modern, filled with luxury and tech features. So a lot of things have really changed with this new version of the Cherokee, but it's not all bad. Now, I've got to admit that the first time that I saw this new generation of the Cherokee, I was horrified. This front end is very different. I think the first thing that went through my mind actually was Pontiac Aztec, and not in a good way. It is very modern, futuristic, bold, it's in your face, and just a little bit too different for my liking, especially given that the Cherokee name goes back to the XJ series, which was very minimalistic, very boxy, very square. This is a completely different vehicle. But that was before I saw this front end with the Trailhawk trim package. I feel like it was only meant to go with the Trailhawk trim package. There are a number of changes that we get with this trim package that kind of blend this all together and give it a very complete look. So, you know, you get your basic Cherokee with this front end, and it's a fairly ordinary vehicle with this really bold, aggressive front end. It just doesn't make any sense. You get it with the Trailhawk trim package, and all of a sudden, it's a very adventurous vehicle, very athletic looking, and yes, a little bit modern, a little bit futuristic, which you may not like if you think of the Cherokee as an XJ. But if you look at it for what it actually is a pretty cool overall vehicle. Now, the thing that's really different about the vehicle is that up here we've got our headlight down below, and then we've got an LED daytime running light up here and a blinker here. So very different to have the headlight below and to have these as two separate compartments. We've also got fog lights down below here, and then with the Trailhawk trim package, we get these two red tow hooks on the front. Of course, we've got the 7-slot Jeep grille, but very different, much more aggressive and futuristic than what we're used to seeing on Jeep models, which tend to be much more conservative, simple designs. The Trailhawk trim package also has this additional decal up here on the hood. You can't really see it as well with the black paint, but on other colors of the Trailhawk really offers a nice contrast, and it still looks pretty cool even with the black. Coming around to the side profile of the vehicle, again, a very athletic looking vehicle. I really like the look of the vehicle in this Trailhawk trim package. We get a revised wheel package with knobbier all-terrain tires. The Trailhawk also sits an inch higher than what you're going to get with your basic Cherokee, and then on the undercarriage we get some skid plates which help to protect all of those mechanical components. We also get a revised front bumper, these plastic fender flares along the sides here, plastic body molding along the bottom, and then another plastic fender flare back here. Up front, we get the Trail Rated 4x4 logo, and then you also see that we get integrated side rails. Coming around to the back of the vehicle, a few differences here as well. It's got a revised bumper when compared with your basic Cherokee. You'll see it's got the Cherokee lettering here, another red tow hook, And then we've got dual exhaust because the Trailhawk comes standard with Jeep's 3.2 liter V6. Otherwise, fairly similar to the other Cherokee models with the exception of the Trailhawk emblem, but a really nice look here. I like the way that the tail lights are kind of their separate unit here, separating the glass from the metal, and just got a really nice overall look to it. Again, really blends in well with the rest of the vehicle. So there's no doubt that this new generation of the Cherokee is very different from what we saw in that XJ series. And if to you the Cherokee is this boxy old primitive SUV, then you're not going to like this. But if you look at this as a completely new vehicle that, yes, carries that Cherokee badge, it is a very adventurous looking vehicle, very muscular looking, and very different from any other vehicle that's out there on the market. Looking inside the Cherokee, you'll see that it's a huge departure from Jeep Cherokees of the past that were very primitive with pretty basic overall interiors and fairly cheap quality. This new Cherokee has a really nice overall design, high quality materials, nice accent colors, and it's filled with luxury and tech features. You'll see that our seats are a combination of leather with cloth insets, and we've got Trailhawk lettering on the seat backs. We also have really nice side support, keep you tucked in if you're off-roading. Vehicle is filled with luxury and tech features. Power windows, power door locks, power mirrors. You see we've got red stitching throughout, as well as these wood insets, some brushed aluminum accents, and just overall a really nice high quality feel to it. As we jump inside, this is our key. Some models are equipped with push button start. So we'll inset that there, turn the key, and you'll see that on our instrument cluster, we've got a small LCD screen. You can scroll through a variety of options on the left-hand side here. So you'll see we've got messages, audio controls, stop start if you want to turn that feature on or off, trip information. So a number of vehicle settings here that you can scroll through. This whole pad here is used to control a number of vehicle settings. Down below, we've got some voice activation features and Bluetooth functionality, and we've got cruise control over here on the right-hand side. You'll see that the instrument cluster also has a tachometer on the left, speedometer on the right. Over here in the center dash, we've got a compartment up above. Nice large screen here. This is a touch screen, and as you'll see, we're currently on radio. We've also got media, settings, apps, climate, phone connectivity, so a number of features that can be controlled through this system. We've got AM FM radio, we've got CD players, Sirius XM radio. You can also connect your phone or other Bluetooth device. Another cool thing about this system is that, for example, if we go to climate control here, you'll see that you can control climate through this screen, but you can also control it down below. So it's kind of a dual system. Depending on what's easier for you, you can control it here or you can control it down below. So I really like that functionality. You'll see we've got this apps feature, number of vehicle apps, adding a lot of functionality. And then with our climate control system, again, we've got controls down below here, heat and air conditioning. We look down below, we've got this little knob for our four-wheel drive system. So you've got that four-wheel drive low feature, hill descent control, hill assist start, locking rear differential, and then you can see that you can also control this knob, rotary knob, to go through these different features here. So we've got auto, snow, sport, sand and mud, and rock mode. Automatic transmission, electronic parking brake here, 2 cup holders, and then inside here we've got kind of a 2-compartment center console, 12-volt outlet and USB port, coin storage, and then I also forgot to mention down below here you can enter an SD card, USB, auxiliary input, and then we've got a 12-volt outlet. So not a lot of ability to connect your phone or other device to the vehicle. If we look up above, we've got a self-dimming rear view mirror, compartment here for sunglasses, and just overall, very attractive vehicle with a lot of luxury and tech features and a really nice overall look and layout. Looking into the back of the Cherokee, you'll see that it's pretty spacious here. Plenty of room for those rear passengers. Our middle seat folds down into an armrest with 2 cup holders. And then we can also fold down our seat backs in a 60-40 split to further increase rear cargo space. Center console has vents to get heat and air conditioning to the rear of the vehicle. And down below, we've also got an integrated power outlet. Both doors also have storage space integrated down below. Coming around to the back of the Cherokee, if we open up this rear hatch, you'll see that it's pretty spacious inside. Plenty of cargo space. Got lights on both sides of the vehicle to help illuminate this rear cargo area. And then you also see on the driver's side, we've got this 12-volt outlet, and then a little compartment down here, and this rail here to help secure objects over on the side. Fairly spacious overall. Given that this vehicle carries the Cherokee name and the trail rated badge, it's got to have some good off-road credibility. Is it as good as the XJ series? Probably not, but it's got a number of features that do make it much more capable than 99% of other crossover vehicles that are out there. For starters, we do have these recovery hooks on the front and rear of the vehicle. Those will be handy if you get stuck or if you need to pull somebody else out. Underneath, we've got some nice skid plates that protect all those fragile mechanics. The vehicle's got an additional inch of ground clearance. Coming stock from the factory, we get the knobby all-terrain tires. Front approach angle is sitting about 30 degrees, breakover angle at 32 degrees, and then the departure angle is 23 degrees at the rear, much better than what you're gonna get in your standard Cherokees. And then the vehicle also has a four-wheel drive system with a low range option. It's got a locking rear differential, and we've also got a traction control system that is adjustable depending on terrain conditions and allows the vehicle computer system to adapt to those different conditions. So whether this vehicle is as capable as the XJ series or not, it still has a number of components that really do give it some pretty serious off-road credibility. It is going to be more off-road capable than probably about 99% of other crossover vehicles that are out there. Your more basic version of the Cherokee is going to have a 2.4 liter four-cylinder with 184 horsepower. The Trailhawk model comes standard with a 3.2 liter V6 that has 271 horsepower. That will propel you to 60 miles an hour in 7.2 seconds. Both of those powertrains are paired to a 9-speed automatic transmission. On the four-cylinder, you're going to see an EPA rating of about 21 miles per gallon in the city and 28 to 30 miles per gallon on the highway. On the Trailhawk model, it's going to be a little bit lower at 18 miles per gallon in the city and 25 miles per gallon on the highway. On those four-cylinder models, you do have your choice of either front-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, whereas the Trailhawk is going to be standard with four-wheel drive. Now, one of my favorite vehicles on the market right now is the Jeep Grand Cherokee, and they just have this really substantial feel to them. They've got incredibly good ride quality and handling. They're super smooth, comfortable, and just a really high quality feel to them. And the Jeep Cherokee shares a lot in common with the Grand Cherokee in that sense. It really kind of feels like a baby Grand Cherokee. It's smaller overall, but it doesn't come with compromises. Likewise, it's incredibly smooth, comfortable, quiet. It's got great handling. Steering feel is really good. Excellent powertrains. And that's really a little bit rare to find within this compact SUV segment. A lot of other compact SUVs that I've driven are budget-minded, and with that, they just feel cheap overall. The ride quality is cheap. The powertrains aren't the best. Interior quality isn't all that great, and I don't feel like you really get any compromises within the Cherokee. If you drop down to the Compass or the Patriot, you definitely start to notice some of those deficiencies. But with this Cherokee in the Trailhawk configuration, again, it just feels like a baby version of the Grand Cherokee. Super high quality feel to it, and a great vehicle to drive overall. One thing I've read a lot about is that the 9-speed automatics that you get in these Cherokees are a little bit finicky. They tend to shift inconsistently, a little bit abruptly, and I've got to say that from both driving this Cherokee and the 2014 that I tested earlier this year, I haven't experienced that at all. To the contrary, it's got a really nice overall feel to it. Accelerate real quickly here, and you'll see it's incredibly quick, incredibly smooth, and then because of the 9-speed automatic, it's got great fuel economy as well. So a really great powertrain in this vehicle. No complaints in that area. So there's no doubt that this generation of the Cherokee is a very controversial vehicle, a huge departure from what we saw in the prior generations of the Cherokee. Much more advanced, much more luxurious, a lot of luxury and tech features, very bold overall design that some people are gonna love, some people are gonna hate. Personally, again, I really like the overall look that we get here, and I think that this vehicle is a very nice overall vehicle. I try to avoid comparing it to the XJ series because they're such different vehicles. If you look at this as a standalone vehicle, it really is a great overall vehicle and one that I would highly recommend buying. If you have any comments or questions on the Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk, leave them in the section below. For more car reviews, be sure to subscribe. In the meantime, thanks for watching.